Welcome to Precalculus Concept 23E. Underneath angles and radian measure, we are going to learn how to draw angles in standard position, and there is only two boxes. So here we go. Box number one, we're going to draw and label each of the following in standard position. So let me shrink it down so we can kind of see all four of these. So I have A, B, C, and D. So the way that you're going to draw an angle in standard position, remember, an angle consists of an initial side and a terminal side. So the initial side is always going to be glued down to the positive x-axis. So you can draw all of these by starting a line that goes off, an arrow that goes off in the positive x direction. Now you have to realize that pi over 4 is worth 45 degrees. So you have to be able to convert radians to degrees if you're not yet familiar with knowing that pi over 4 is 45 degrees. So I'm going to do my best to draw an angle in standard position at 45 degrees. And remember, the arrow indicates the direction in which it's going. So that would be pi over 4. This is my initial side of my angle, and this is my terminal side of my angle, and that's how we would draw pi over 4. Okay, let's consider 5 pi over 4. 5 pi over 4, the way that I like to look at this is it's 5 multiples of pi over 4, okay? So I know that every one multiple of pi over 4 is worth sort of half a quadrant, because remember, right, all of these are quadrants, right? So if I kept going here, and this is the origin. So this is quadrant number 1, this is quadrant number 2, this is quadrant number 3, and of course this is quadrant number 4. So I'm trying to figure out where 5 pi over 4 is. Well, this dashed line here would be 1 pi over 4. If I go all the way to here, that's 2 pi over 4s. If I split this quadrant, that would be 3 pi over 4s. If I go all the way around, that would be 4 pi over 4s. And then if I go all the way down over here, that would be the 5 pi over 4s. So the angle that I'm looking for is going to be this one right here. Because I just counted by 5 pi over 4. So it would be all the way around like that. And that would be my alpha angle. Okay. B says negative 3 pi over 4. So again, imagine that you have a coordinate plane here. And remember, we're going to draw this angle in standard position. So we're going to put a point at the origin, and we're going to draw a positive x-axis glued down for our initial ray. And if I want negative 3 pi over 4, that means the way that my brain looks at this is negative 3 multiples of pi over 4. I love pi over 4 because it always splits one quadrant in half. So remember, since it's negative, I'm going to swing down. So swinging down, that would be negative 1 pi over 4. Swinging down to here would be negative 2 pi over 4. And then swinging down to here would be negative 3 pi over 4. So you're going to notice, or hopefully you should notice, that in problem B and again in problem C, we end up in the same place. We just took a different path to get there. So there's my angle beta. And then finally here, let's do 9 pi over 4. So let me show you a way to approach 9 pi over 4. Okay, 9 pi over 4 is the same thing as 8 pi over 4 plus one more pi over 4, right? So 8 pi over 4 plus 1 pi over 4 gives me 9 pi over 4, just adding fractions. So if I think about this, 8 pi over 4, that's worth 2 pi. That's a full revolution all the way around. And pi over 4 is just one more half quadrant after that. So the way that I like to think about this one is you can either count if you want and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, back to 9. Or you just realize that you're going to go all the way around and then back up another quarter of, or half of the first quadrant. So this angle here, so notice how it does snail out or wrap around. That's you're allowed to do that. So that would be your 9 pi over 4. And there's box 1. Okay, here's a you try. Draw 3 pi over 4 in standard position. Okay, hopefully you got the right answer. Your sketch should look something like this. You should have the initial side glued down to the positive x-axis, and the terminal side is free to swing around, and it should end up in quadrant number 2, exactly splitting quadrant number 2 in half at 45 degrees. So this is an angle of 3 pi over 4 drawn in standard position.